Accused are informed that if, after they are released on bail, they fail to appear at the police, and they fail to appear at court and on the date and the time appointed for his trial, or to which the proceedings are adjourned, or fails to remain in attendance at such trial or at such proceedings, or fail to comply with the above conditions, the court shall issue a warrant for his arrest. They are further advised that it is a punishable offence for failing to appear in court or for non-compliance with the stipulated conditions. Do they understand? This is M.E. Koko. Do you understand? Mr. Koketso Choma. Do you understand? Mr. J.C. Kutsia.
Yes.
Do you understand? Mr. Counsel Choma. Do you understand? Okay. I think in respect of those four accused, the proceedings.
As it is.
May stand up.
May they be excused?
Excuse, yeah.
The bail conditions, is there a possibility that we can get copies of the bail conditions? Thank you, Your Worship.
Yes, Your Worship.
Your Worship, that concludes my honor. I please be excused. Thank you, Your Worship.
As a principal, Your Worship, in respect of the remaining accused, it is the Schedule 5 bail petition. The same is brought it under the attention of counsel that the court is not sitting here tonight, and they risk running they're on the risk that if we don't finish tomorrow, today, there is going to be a problem. So I don't know how the defense wants to proceed with this, but the state is ready to proceed with the Schedule 5 petitions, and they make it short.
Worship, we are also ready. We are going to be short because we'll be just reading the sworn affidavits into record.
Yes, the same here, Your Worship.
Thank you, Worship. On behalf of accused number 1, Matshela Koko, I will continue to read the following sworn affidavit into record. I, the undersigned, do hereby declare as follows that I'm an applicant and the accused in this matter. The facts contained herein falls within my personal knowledge and are both true and correct. I've been advised by my legal representative that the charges brought against me fall within the ambit of Schedule 5 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, wherein referred to as the Criminal Procedure Act. I confirm that where the charges brought against me falls within the ambit of Schedule 5 of the Criminal Procedure Act, the onus rests on me to convince the Honourable Court that the terms of Section 60, subsection 11B of the Criminal Procedure Act, that it is in the interest of justice that I be released on bail, or in terms of Section 60, paragraph 11, subsection 11, paragraph A of the Criminal Procedure Act, that there are exceptional circumstances which in the interest of justice permit my release on bail. I confirm that my rights have been explained to me and that I've got a right to remain silent and that I do not disclose any information which may incriminate me. I've been advised that in terms of Section 60, sub 11, paragraph B of the Criminal Procedure Act, I have the honors to disclose to the Honourable Court whether I have got previous convictions or pending cases. I confirm further that I've been advised that should I disclose any false information concerning my previous convictions or pending cases and it later be found to be false, I can be sentenced to a period of not exceeding 2 years or imprisonment or be liable to a fine not exceeding 40,000 rand. In respect of previous convictions, I place the following on record. I have no previous conviction. In respect of pending cases, I place the following on record. I have no other pending cases. I was arrested on the 27th of October 2022 in my house at 683 Sarandon Estate, 4 Ways. I'm an adult male residing at 683 Sarandon Estate. I am conducting business in Zimbabwe and other neighboring countries. From time to time, I'll have to travel to these countries in business trips. I am a husband and a father of 5. This includes 2 stepchildren, and one of the children is a minor. I am unemployed, and other countries that I conduct business in includes Namibia, Botswana, and Zambia. I've got the following financial information. I have a bond of about 45,000 Rand and a car installment of about 30,000 Rand. I have school fees for about 13,000 Rand and housekeeping for water and lights for about 15,000 Rand. I have the following assets. A house in Sarandon worth about 4 million Rands and a house in Harleby Sport worth about 3.2 million Rands, both which are bonded. I am a South African citizen and I possess a valid South African identity document, and I do have a passport. I have traveled outside the borders of South Africa. I am told that the state does not oppose my release on bail. I am healthy and under no medication. I am not a flight risk, and I undertake to stand my trial to attend to court as and when is expected of me. I have made no threats towards anyone involved and I have received no threats, and my safety will not be compromised should I be released on bail. The community will not be disgruntled should I be released on bail, and I cannot think of any reason why my release on bail will affect the public peace and order. I cannot of any reason see why my release on bail will negatively influence the criminal procedure and more specifically bail legislation. I, at all material times, provided the police with the correct information which they required of me, and I fully cooperated. I will be severely prejudiced should I not be released on bail, and in the preparation of my trial, I will lose my work and income and not be able to comply with financial obligations. I am not part of any gang or any syndicate. No specific person or group of persons' safety will be threatened should I be released on bail. I will make an amount of 50,000 Rand available for bail, and I can not forfeit the amount to the state by not abiding to the bail conditions. I undertake to abide by the reasonable bail conditions should the Honorable Court release me on bail. I therefore submit that I've discharged the honors resting upon me to satisfy the Honorable Court that there are exceptional circumstances which in the interest of justice permit my release on bail. Alternatively, that I've shown the interest of justice do permit, it does not require my further detention. This is a sworn statement, sworn and signed in Middleburg on the 27th of October. Now, Your Worship, these are our submissions. Your Worship, we submit that based on the evidence that has been tendered by the affidavit on behalf of accused number 1, it will only be in the interest of justice that accused number 1 be allowed, Your Worship, to be released on bail. Further, Your Worship, that he must be allowed to continue conducting businesses in the countries in which he has stipulated that he conducts business in. And it appears from the affidavit, Your Worship, that he conducts business in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Zambia, and Botswana, Your Worship. Now, our submission is that we believe that the South African government does have an extradition treaty with all these countries, and as a result, accused number 1, as and when needed to be in court, will be here. Further conditions can be placed, Your Worship, upon the accused, such conditions being that whenever the accused has to leave the country, they have to report to the investigating officer, and when they come back into the country, they also do the same. And the court can place any other reasonable conditions, Your Worship, that will make it possible for my client that while out on bail, which I believe that this court will agree with me, he becomes able to conduct all these businesses while attending court. Your Worship, also, I will also remind the court of the case of Shaban in the question of considering the amount of bail, that whenever the court pronounces bail, it must pronounce bail in such a manner that it makes it possible for the accused person to, number one, pay the bail, number two, as a result of the accused having paid the bail, the accused coming to court. Now, the purpose of bail, Your Worship, must not be misconstrued, because these are accused persons. These are people that have not been found guilty of any crime. It's the state that is alleging that they are guilty of these crimes. So the court will have to balance the interest of justice, Your Worship, because at a later stage it may happen that there was actually no crime. So in taking all of that into account, the court has to look at the circumstances of the accused which have been placed before court, the interest of justice as well, Your Worship, which I submit that before this honorable court, they permit for the release of my client on bail. Your Worship, it is common cause that the investigation has been long and my client has never left the country. If at any point my client intended to abscond, having to answer to these charges, my client would have left the country. But, Your Worship, as it is common cause that my client was arrested today in his house, it shows that my client is a South African citizen who owes his allegiance to this country and will, as and when needed to attend to court, he will attend to court and observe the bail conditions. Your Worship, I submit that a proper case has been made, and therefore the court may make a reasonable pronunciation on bail and make necessary conditions insofar as they are in the interest of justice and the administration of justice, as the court is urged.
Yes, can I just request to have a quick excerpt of the statement before it is handed up to the board? Thank you, Your Worship.
The confirmed the correctness of the statement was read on your behalf. I do. Will correct. I do. Confirm that you have signed the said statement affidavit. I do. Bail statement is secret.
As it is.
Excuse, may be seated.
The court pleases with for case number 2. Worship, I'm going to adduce evidence by means of affidavit. We're not going to do any evidence. Can I proceed, Your Worship? Thank you. So affidavit, I undersigned Francis Tolle, here declare on the oath as follows. I'm the applicant in the above mentioned matter, an adult male, age 50, with the following personal particulars and background. My identification number is 720707548247. My date of birth is the 7th of July 1972. I'm a South African citizen. I have a valid passport and the SAP took this morning when they arrested me at home. Previous travel or residence in foreign countries, there's no residence in foreign countries, but no relatives outside the borders of South Africa, no assets outside the borders of South Africa. Personal background, I was born in Brits Northwest Province. Schooling, I obtained grade 12 at the high school in Brits, and then tertiary and other training. I've got a diploma in mechanical engineering that I got at TUT. I've also got an MBA at Renaissance. Work history, I'm self-employed and at the moment I'm the CEO for Leader Occupational Health. My address is 378 Lombardi Estate, via Zasta, where I've lived the past 4.5 years. The worship accused has also been arrested here at this address this morning. I'm married since 1999. My wife, initials and details is GWP Setole. Got 3 dependents, 3 children that I still maintain with my wife. They're 22, 21 and 12 years of age. As I've already stated, I'm self-employed and my income is approximately net salary 35,000 per month. Other sources of income at this stage is none. Assets, I've got a house number 11, the Woods in Wapad Rand in Pretoria. Worship, the availability of funds for bail is, the court will notice that I've indicated 100,000 here. That is available, but during the break I also had a discussion with family members. There is another 50,000 available if the court deems or it fit for a higher amount, Your Worship. So there is amount up to 150 available. I've got no previous convictions, no pending cases. My date of arrest was this morning, the 27th of October 2022, an offence that I'm charged with fraud and corruption. My tenant plea, I'm going to plead not guilty, and my defences I will disclose my defence during the trial. I confirm that this application falls under as a Schedule 5 bail application, Your Worship. Regarding 64A2E, danger to the public or individual safety, I'm not a danger to the public. I did not commit offences previously. The likelihood of evasion of trial, I stayed at my home address for the past 4.5 years. The South African police took my passport this morning at my house, and my attorney had previous meetings with the IA regarding this case. Section 64C, interference with witnesses. I don't know the name of state witness and I have never interfered with persons regarding the case. I understand that the investigation has been finalised. Regarding jeopardy, 64D, the function of criminal justice system, I'm a first offender and I gave cooperation to the SAP. In 64E, there are no circumstances which may lead to the undermining of the public order, Your Worship. Other relevant factors, I'm aware that this is an ongoing investigation, this case, for a long time, and I've never tried to flee the country. Bishop, this has been signed by the accused this morning and it has been commissioned here at the court by the SAP. Bishop, I would like to hand this up as an exhibit. We're not going to need other evidence, Your Worship. I just will then address the court later as the court pleases, Your Worship. I will just think that this is a case for accused number 2. I will just then address the court. I don't know whether I should do it after the state or after the court pleases. Thank you, Worship.
You confirm that the statement that was made on your behalf is true and correct? Yes. And that the oversight says it? Yes, sir. Statement says
If it pleases the court, Your Worship, if I may then proceed with reading into the record an affidavit prepared in respect of accused number 12, Your Worship, as it pleases the court. Your Worship, I, the undersigned Walton Sabatwalo Seswai, declare under oath as follows. I'm the accused in this matter. The content of this affidavit is within my personal knowledge and understanding, and unless it appears from this affidavit to be the contrary and to the best of my knowledge, true and correct. I'm competent to dispose of this affidavit and have locus stand out to lodge this application. I'm advised that the charges brought against me fall within the ambit of Schedule 5 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977. I confirm that whereas the charges brought against me fall within Schedule 5 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, that the onus rests upon me to convince the Honourable Court that it is in the interest of justice that I be released on bail. I further confirm that my rights have been explained to me and that I have the right to remain silent. I further confirm that I do not have to disclose any information which may incriminate me. I'm advised that I have the onus to disclose to the Honourable Court whether I have previous convictions and or pending cases and or whether any protection order in terms of the Domestic Violence Act has been granted or application pending in respect of me. I am further advised and I herewith confirm that I have been advised that it is punishable should I disclose false information and should it later be found that I did not fully disclose all information in respect of my previous convictions or pending cases to the Honourable Court. I could be prosecuted and upon a verdict of guilty be sentenced to 40,000 rand or 2 years imprisonment. I have no previous convictions, I have no pending cases against me, and there are no domestic violence protection orders against me, nor are any applications in terms thereof pending or to be launched against me. I was arrested in respect of this matter at my residence on 27 October 2022, being today's date. The above-mentioned charges apparently took place at Middleburg. The state witness's identity is not known to me, but I undertake in any way not to make contact with any state witnesses and not to interfere with the investigation. In respect of my personal circumstances, I place the following on record: that I've been in custody since this morning from approximately 5:40. I am resident at 23 Pitchley Estate, Pitchley Road, Bryanston. The aforementioned address belongs to me and is bonded with Nedbank. I have been resident at the aforementioned address since 2017. I consider the aforementioned address as my permanent place of residence. I am married and am the sole breadwinner for my family. I have 6 children for whom I maintain respectively ranging from 5 to 25 years. 4 are in school, 3 at Brescia House. Notwithstanding that I maintain my wife and children, I further maintain my elderly mother, who is a widow in Limpopo and who suffers with arthritis. I'm a businessman and am self-employed, employing 40 employees. I have an income of approximately 100,000 Rand per month. I have been in service since 2002. I have the following assets: my residence, which is bonded by approximately 1 million Rand, and 3 vehicles which are financed, being a Jaguar, Porsche and Mercedes-Benz vehicles. My business as well. I have close family ties with my family. I have the following financial obligations: the bond, school fees in respect to my 4 minor children and 2 major children who are dependent on me, as well as my wife. I'm and elderly mother. I'm a South African citizen. I do have a passport and do not have any other travelling documents, and undertake to deliver the above mentioned to the investigating officer if so requested. My family is resident at my residence as aforesaid. I am not a flight risk and undertake to stand my trial and to attend court where and when expected of me. I have made no threats towards any person involved with this case, nor will I commit any acts of domestic violence. I received no threats and my safety would not be compromised should the above honourable court release me on bail. The community will not be disgruntled should I be released on bail. I cannot think of any reason why my release on bail would negatively affect the public peace and order. I cannot think of any reason why my release on bail would negatively influence the criminal procedure and more specifically bail legislation. As far as I know, I have given my cooperation to the investigating officer, more specifically in respect of my personal information. I'm advised that the investigation in these kinds of matters could take up to several years, and I would be severely prejudiced for the undermentioned reasons should I not be released on bail. I will be prejudiced in the preparation of my trial. I will lose my work or income and will not be able to maintain my family independence. I will not be able to comply with my financial responsibilities and will lose my assets. I will be deprived of my liberty under circumstances where the case against me have not been properly investigated, the state's case against me lacks substance, that I have a valid defence in law against the charges brought against me, that I'm not linked with the offences and deny any involvement with the offences. It is likely that the bond on my property may be foreclosed on and me and my family rendered homeless. My business will be closed and approximately 40 employees will lose their jobs. School fees in relation to my children need to be paid, particularly given the time of year where accounts and amounts need to be paid. If I am unable to pay as a result of being incarcerated, they may be expelled. My elderly mother will lose her only means of support and treatment will be frustrated. I'm advised that the state does not oppose bail for the following reasons. I'm not a flight risk and will not contravene any of the issues or obligations in terms of Section 64 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977. I'm not a member of any gang or syndicate. No specific person or group of persons' safety will be threatened should I be released on bail. I will make a reasonable amount of bail available and propose an amount of 40,000 Rand available in respect of bail. I cannot afford to forfeit the amount to the state by not abiding to the bail conditions. In respect of the merits of the charges against me, I place the following on record: that I intend to plead not guilty to the charges, that at this stage neither I nor my legal representatives have had sight of the charge sheet and been able to ascertain exactly what charges have been preferred against me. Having said that, I have been advised that the charges are in terms of preca have been laid against me, exceeding an amount of 500,000 Rand. In due course, copies of the charge sheet will be obtained and copies of the docket, and I, together with my legal representatives, will deal with the charges against me, as I do not believe I have committed any offence. I undertake to abide by any reasonable conditions of bail should the above honourable court release me on bail, including the following: the tendering of any travel documentation to the state, which in any event has already been handed in to the state authorities. In the interest of justice whereas the onus rests upon me to convince the Honourable Court that it is in the interest of justice that I be released on bail, I humbly request the Honourable Court to take the above, together with the undermentioned circumstances, into account upon the consideration of my application, and to resolve in my favour that the said circumstances permit, in the interest of justice, that I be released on bail. I have at all times cooperated with the authorities. I am not a flight risk and undertake to attend every court hearing. I have firm ties to the community. Me and my family could be rendered homeless and lose property if unable to pay debts and obligations. My business will close down and 40 people will lose their jobs, as I'm the only one who can run it. I am the sole breadwinner in my household, which comprises of me, my wife, and 6 children, who are all financially dependent on me, including paying medical aids. My minor children may be expelled and not allowed to return to their schools due to non-payment, and at this time of the year, it may not be possible to make alternative arrangements for free public schooling for them, gravely affecting their right to education. I have taken the above Honourable Court into my trust by the disclosure of the information, and request that the Honourable Court resolve in my favour that I have, on a balance of probabilities, discharged myself of the onus to convince the Honourable Court that it is in the interest of justice that I be released on bail. Therefore, I humbly pray that the Honourable Court release me on bail in such conditions as the Honourable Court may deem fit. I confirm that the above information is true and correct. I confirm that I am advised that the information herein contained, except for the information in respect of previous convictions, may be used against me during trial. This done and signed in Middelburg on this day of 27 October 2022 and commissioned, Your Worship. Your Worship, if it pleases the Court, I would respectfully request that this affidavit be handed up as an exhibit. Your Worship, insofar as any argument is concerned, I would perhaps reserve that to ascertain what exactly the State's position is in relation to this bail application, as it pleases the Court.
Says why? Says why?
No, Your Worship, the case is correct. I think the legal counsel went out of order, but Mr. Siswa is the last one.
Do you confirm that the correctness of the statement that was read out of the Yes. You further confirm that you have signed the statement? Okay, so let's see.
As it pleases the Court.
As it pleases the Court, Your Worship, may I proceed to read affidavit on behalf of accused number 8. I, the undersigned, Tabo Owen Ngwana, do hereby oath and state that I am a 52-year-old adult male and South African citizen residing at 4 Longmore Road, Bryanston, Sandton. I am accused number 8 in Sandton under case number 413/07/2022, pending before this Honourable Court. I attest hereto solely in anticipation of this application to be released on bail. I have been advised that the charges preferred against me fall under the ambit of Schedule 5 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, and as such, I am required to adduce evidence which satisfies this Honourable Court that the interest of justice permits my release. I was arrested shortly after 8:30 this morning, 27 October 2022, by Captain Smith in the presence of another member of South African Police Services and my legal representatives. Captain Smith informed me that he has a warrant of arrest for me, and as such was placing me under arrest on the following charges. Count 3, contravention of Section 13, subsection 1A of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act 12 of 2004. Alternatively, contravention of Section 12, subsection 1A and Section 3, subsection 1A of Act 12 of 2004. Count 15 and 16 fraud. Captain Smith, however, was unable to explain to me or to my legal representatives what the nature and details of the charges entailed, and advised that he was merely executing the warrant for my arrest, and that Colonel Pete du Plessis was in fact the investigating officer in the matter. I attach here to a copy of J50, that is the warrant of arrest that was served on me this morning, marked TOM1. I further attach here to a copy of annexure to J50 listing the charges handed to me by Captain Smith upon my arrest and marked TOM2. I fully cooperated with police this morning and intend to continue rendering the necessary cooperation insofar as it is relevant. Captain Smith also advised that the state was not opposed to me being released on bail, but I, however, would have to apply to be released on bail. To this end, I have managed to secure 100,000 rands in lieu of payment for bail. I dispute the charges as I have never conducted myself in a manner that contravenes the legislation manifesting the basis for the charges preferred against me. I'm an honest businessman who has always conducted himself above reproach. As such, I intend to stand my trial and defend these charges to the hilt. Under interest of justice, there is absolutely no likelihood whatsoever that my release on bail will endanger the safety of the public or any person. Nor is there any likelihood that I will commit Schedule 1 offense. There is no likelihood whatsoever of me evading to stand my trial or attempting to evade to stand my trial. I intend to attend all court proceedings to defend myself and have no desire to evade justice. I am currently unemployed and a former chairman of the Yahoo Pty Ltd engaged in consulting engineering entity, which entity ceased to trade in March 2020. I'm also a director of several entities which are presently dormant. I previously served as an advisor to various political heads in government until recently. I am married with 4 children, respectively aged 24, 10, 5, and 1. I have been resident at my current address since 2013. I own property, although it is still bonded, and the property is valued at 12 million. I am the sole breadwinner of my family. As stated above, I dispute the charges against me and intend to defend same to be held. I have no family or friends abroad and have handed both my personal passport and my diplomatic passport to Captain Smith earlier this morning. I further have no assets or any financial means outside of that which I have in the Republic. I do not know any of the witnesses, nor has any evidential disclosure been made to me. As such, there is further no remote likelihood that I will influence or intimidate any witnesses or attempt to do so. Neither is there any likelihood of me considering any evidence nor attempting to do so. In this regard, I have not displayed a degree of violence towards anyone, neither have I threatened anyone with violence, nor have I displayed or harbored any resentment against anyone. There is also no likelihood of that my release on bail will undermine or jeopardize the objectives of the proper functioning of the criminal justice system, including bail system. Lastly, there is also no likelihood that my release on bail will disturb the public order nor undermine the public peace and or security. In conclusion, I have no previous convictions, nor do I have any pending cases. I submit to this honorable court that all circumstances described above individually and cumulatively demonstrate that it will be in the best interest of justice for this honorable court to release me on bail. As such, I tender an amount of 100,000 rands in lieu of bail along with any bail conditions that the court may impose on me. I know and understand the contents of this affidavit. I have no objections in taking the prescribed oath. I consider the prescribed oath as binding on my conscience. The affidavit, Your Worship, was deposed today and was commissioned today.
in view
Your Worship, may I be able to hand over the statement?
in view of the fact that there was amendments to the bail legislation, it also requires applicants to disclose whether there are any protection orders in the case of the domestic violence act, protection against harassment act, or whether there are any pending applications to the effect. Listing instructions.
May I request
Also
to
not it doesn't appear from the statements of accused stepdaughter and Koko.
Your Worship, I'm instructed that the accused doesn't have any of such matters.
No any pending.
And no any pending.
Mr. Makwela? Do you confirm the correctness of the statement that was read of Premier? Correct, Your Honor. Do you further confirm that you do not have any protection orders either in terms of the Domestic Violence Act or in terms of the protection against harassment act? That's correct. So there's no pending applications.
As a please spoke.
As a court is motion. Your Worship, the instructions are that there's none pending and none granted as well.
The same year, none, Your Worship. No pending, none. No.
As it pleases the court, yes, indeed.
Yes, Your Worship.
Or accused of.
As please spoke. Laptop charger,
Yeah, no, that's
Four 4.3 charges account against each accused, their personal circumstances and factors relevant for the consideration of trial. 4.4 other relevant factors. 4.5 conclusion. B. Summary of charges and applicable schedule for respective bail applications. The table here under sets out the accused, a short summary of the charges and which schedule is applicable for the respective accused bail application. With the leave of the court, I will now read this out to save time. Attached to the charge is a copy of the draft charging with the main counts and the alternative C2. C. Background of the investigation. 7.1. Eskom is a public company duly incorporated in terms of the Eskom Conversion Act, Act 13 of 2001, and the Companies Law of South Africa with registration number 2002/0155527/30, and having a share capital held by the Government of the Republic of South Africa. 7.2. Eskom is classified as an organ of state in accordance with the provision of Section 239 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Act 108 of 1996. 7.3. Eskom is also incorporated as a state-owned entity in terms of the Companies Act, Act 71 of 2008, and a major public entity in terms of Schedule 2 of the Public Finance Management Act, Act 1 of 1999. 7.4. Procurement of goods and services by Eskom is regulated by Section 217 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, the Public Finance Management Act, and the Preferential Procurement Policy Framework, Act 5 of 2000. In terms hereof, Eskom is legally obliged to create and maintain a procurement system enabling the contracting of goods and services in a manner that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective. 8.1. Since 2002, Eskom undertook two large capital projects, namely Medupi and Kusile Power Station building projects. 8.2. On 13 October 2009, the Board of Directors Tender Committee, the BTC, approved the mandate of contract with Eskom SME for the provision of the control and instrumentation system for the power island and balance of plant, as well as training simulator for the Medupi and Kusile Power Stations, under a plea agreement to the value of 2.1 billion, excluding VAT and other costs over a period of 6 years. 8.3. During 2012 to 2014, Eskom started having performance issues at Medupi and Kusile, and their contract was eventually cancelled in March 2015. On 8.4, on 9 April 2014, the Eskom Board Building Program Review Committee mandated the strategy to place early works order with three potential alternative suppliers being ABB, MEL and Siemens as a risk mitigating strategy to mitigate the perceived risk of Eskom not performing. MEL later withdrew, and the only two competitors were ABB and Siemens. 8.5. The early works order was meant for the early design work on Medupi Unit 4 and Kusile Unit 1. 8.9. Subsequent to Eskom's non-performance and the early works order contracts, a close tender process was initiated to source an alternative CNI contract. 8.10. On the 24th of February 2015, the Board of Directors Tender Committee approved the request to conclude a contract with ABB. The letter of acceptance was issued on 13 March 2015, and the final contract signed on the 29th of April 2015. 8.12. The total value of this contract was 2.5 billion rand. 9. The investigation emanated from the irregularities and the procurement process which were not fair, equitable, transparent, competitive and cost-effective in the award of the CNI contract to ABB, and the subsequent appointment of their subcontractors Liahu EPC Pty Ltd, Liahu Consolidated Pty Ltd, represented by Mokoena, and Impulse International Pty Ltd, represented at the time by the late Fergus and Panther as the director, and during the period 31 March 2016 to 22 September 2016, K. Choma as the director. Paragraph 10. Investigations revealed that Koko used his influence and position to influence the award of the CNI contract to ABB, in that he 10.1 engaged in a general corrupt relationship with ABB employees, Brugman, Vip, and Wolf, and Mokoena during the period 2014 to 2019. 10.2 ABB subsequently received preferential treatment and information which Siemens, the main competitor, did not receive. The procurement process was therefore not transparent and competitive. Paragraph 11.1. Mokoena's company was awarded a contract to provide services during the early works order phase in the amount of 5.6 million rand. This company, Liahu EPC, was then known as Liahu Strategic Services Pty Ltd. As a subcontractor of ABB, was awarded a contract in the amount of 96 million rand exclusive of VAT to provide the skill development and industrialization portion of the CNI contract. 11.2. An out of the ordinary 9.6 million advance payment was made by ABB to Mokoena, which with Dietrich Wolf, a Section 204 witness stated was meant for Koko. 11.3. Evidence revealed that the relationship between Koko and Mokoena broke down and no further contracts were awarded to Mokoena or any of the companies he represented. Role plays in the ABB Impulse Eskom Impulse contracts, paragraph 12.1. Impulse International was represented by Fergus Panther, the director of the company, and for the period 31 March 2016 to 20 September 2016 by K. Choma, Koko's stepdaughter. Father passed away on 27 June 2021. 12.2. Koko used his influence and position to influence the awarding of Impulse as a subcontractor of ABB after his fallout with Mokoena. K. Choma, the stepdaughter of Koko, was appointed as the director at Impulse on 31 March 2016 and resigned on 20 September 2016. 12.4. K. Choma retained her interest in Impulse via the Makoni Trust as follows. 12.5. The Makoni Trust with reference number IT 2000216/2016 was registered on 7 July 2016. 12.5. On 21 September 2016, the day after she resigned as the director of Impulse, she transferred her 25% shareholding in Impulse to Makoni Trust where she was registered as a trustee and a beneficiary as set out in the diagram hereunder. Paragraph 13. Impulse was appointed as a subcontractor of ABB, although the company did not qualify to be appointed in terms of the ABB supply chain process. 14. Wilfini's affidavit explains the involvement of Impulse as a subcontractor of ABB as follows. 14.1. Sunil Vip, an ABB employee, who also played an instrumental role in the award of the contract to ABB, and Koko would agree upon a target price for variation orders. 14.2. Vip will then supply the ABB team working on the VA proposals, the variation order proposals, with the target price and the opening bid price. 14.3. Vernon Pillay, an ABB employee, then liaised with Parker and ensured that Impulse would tailor the bid to ABB in such a way that the proposal to Eskom would have a semblance of legitimacy. 14.4. Pillay would then ensure that the same occurred with ABB's proposal to Eskom. 14.5. Negotiations between ABB and Eskom officials who were not in the know regarding the Impulse scheme would take place on site, but at some stage people involved in the scheme would enter the scene and ensure that the variation order would then be issued at a price close to the initial target price. 14.6. Sitole was the project director at Kusili at the time and signed off of the variation orders. 15. The Impulse scheme was successfully implemented in regard to the following. 15.1. Unit 1 acceleration variation order contract value of 249 million rand. 15.2. Unit 2 trunk cabling variation order contract value at 300 million rand. 15.3. Unit 2 acceleration contract value at 289 million rand. 15.4. Demobilization variation contract value at 179 million rand. 16.1. This led to an overpayment by Eskom for work done by ABB where Impulse was subcontracted. Impulse received a total of 449 million from ABB as part of the subcontracting agreement. 17.1. Impulse also contracted to Eskom directly in 10 contracts. Impulse received a total of 295 million rand from these contracts. 17.2. The two contracts relevant to this investigation is the following. 17.2.1. Contract 4600058330 for the planning of turbine centerline activities through quality work packages in SAC. The value of this contract and the modifications thereof was 95 million rand. And 17.2.2. Contract 4600060205 Easter weekend emergency contract in the amount of 49 million rand was awarded as a result of an emergency declared by Sitole for the supply of additional workers, and the second contract 4600061009 on the first declared emergency in the amount of 99 million, which was awarded to Impulse on a sole source basis as they were already on site. 17.3. Evidence point to the fact that no emergency existed to justify the circumvention of the normal procurement process. 17.4. The preference to Impulse is evidenced by the extraordinary approval decisions followed and the manipulation of procurement and governance processes. Structures and flow of funds to facilitate payment of gratification and money laundering. Paragraph 18. Impulse made payments to the benefit of Koko and his direct family members. 38 million was paid to Ikwakiwa Investments as follows. 18.1. 23 million into Ikwakiwa Investments Standard Bank account with number 203032934. This account was opened and administered by Koketso. 18.2. 15 million into Ikwakiwa's FNB account with number 6263231698. This account was opened on 13 September 2016. 18.3. Koketso Choma was the director of the company from 23 March 2016. Paragraph 19. Money from the accounts were then paid to the following accounts to the benefit of Koko and his family members. 19.1. Turnkey Finishings, Pty Ltd. M.E. Koko was the director of the company and Koko's wife. 19.2. High Echelon or Dominion Capital Pty Ltd. Business account and home loan account. M.E. Koko was also the director of this company. Throne Concepts Pty Ltd. T. Choma is the director of the company and Koko's stepdaughter. 1944, Koketso Choma Bank and Counsel, claiming bank account 02-154-5014. T. Choma is Koko's stepdaughter. Paragraph 20.1. From the accounts mentioned in paragraphs 18 and 19, payments were made to M.E. Koko's Property Development on Act 10987 Middleburg Township. High Echelon Trading Pty Ltd currently owns 26 properties under the sectional title SS Free Batekom. This is a luxury property development in Middleburg. 24.2. Payments were also made to luxurious family holiday trips to Mauritius, France, and Colorado. 20.3. Existing entities and their bank accounts and newly established entities such as the Makoni Trust and bank accounts of Ikwakiwa Investment Foreign Concepts were put in place to facilitate the payment of gratification and to have the likely have the effect of cancelling or disguising the nature, source, location, disposition, or movement of the said property or the ownership thereof, or any interest which anyone may have in respect thereof. 20.2. These structures were put in place on advice of the Asea. Francis Torres Rowan, Eskom, and false contracts. Paragraph 21.1. Sitole, the project director, also uses influence and position to influence the award of the variation orders to ABB and the appointment of impulse on the Eastern Region Emergency Contract. 21.2. The amount of 3.1 million was paid to Nintesa Surf Pty Ltd's account, and then in a series of transactions paid to the benefit of Sitole. D. Accused 1, Matshela Koko, charges personal circumstances and factors relevant for the consideration of bail. Paragraph 22. Koko is charged with the following offences: 22.1, 5 counts of corruption; 22.2, 1 count of money laundering in contravention of Section 4 of the Prevention of Organised Crime Act; 22.3, 1 count of fraud. Paragraph 23.1. The accused ID number is 690309535087. He was born on 9 March 1969. He's a South African citizen. He is married to M.E. Koko on 9 December 2009. He has 4 children. 24.1. The accused was previously employed at Eskom. 24.2. He resigned from Eskom on 16/30/2019. The day of his disciplinary hearing was scheduled. At the time of his resignation, he held the position of interim chief executive officer. 24.3. At the time of his resignation, his salary was approximately 138,000 per month, excluding yearly bonuses. 25.4. I do not know where the accused is currently employed. 26.1. The accused is currently residing at 683 Sarrington Estate, Cedar Avenue, West Bourne, Johannesburg. This address has been confirmed. 26.2. Accused is a co-owner of his property under title T7470/2005 B92843/1992. 26.3. The property was bought for 6.5 million rand. 27.1. The accused is a valid passport number with number A04728891N. The passport is valid until 19 May 2025. 27.2. The accused has a second passport with number N00303483, which is valid until 12 June 2029. 27.2. The accused regularly travelled overseas when he was employed at Eskom in his official capacity. 27.3. The accused also travelled overseas for holidays to Dubai, France, and Mauritius. 28. From January 2018 to date, he travelled outside of South Africa on 31 occasions to the following destinations: 28.1 Zimbabwe, 28.2 Dubai, 28.3 Addis Ababa, 28.4 Uganda, 28.5 Nairobi, 28.6 Tanzania, 28.7 Hong Kong, 28.8 Mauritius. 29. The accused does not have any previous convictions. 30. The following movable assets is registered in his name. 30.1. Lexus LX570, registration number FS02NXGP. 30.2. Mercedes-Benz C20. I'm not sure what's going on, Your Worship, but can I please go and find out? Let me go check, Your Worship. It's back.
All right, Suman.